Pretty sad moment here in Japan. This is really the last train ride, or at least the last train ride with Jodie, because she's heading back to the UK. And yeah, jumping onto the train to Tokyo.
When lights go out, you're in.
Bye! Okay, at Shinjuku Station, and now off to Fuji. Jodie is, Jodie's heading back to the UK for a bit. And this will be, I guess, like 6 weeks apart, so kind of hard, but that's how it goes sometimes in this travel life. And I guess, yeah, time will probably fly having fun in Fuji and then Patagonia and then the US. So yeah, I'm gonna go catch my bus.
I close my eyes. And I tell myself you'll be back again when the stars are in the meadow.
So I made it. I'm at this place called Kawaguchiko. Kawaguchiko is just right at the base of Fuji. Unfortunately, Fuji's back in that cloud behind those buildings, so you can't see it right now. And the weather's actually forecasted to get worse today. It's supposed to get really cloudy, potentially rainy this afternoon. The good news is I have like 3 days here. I have 2 full days here, and it's supposed to clear up tomorrow. I think tomorrow is supposed to be a really nice day, and the day after is supposed to be sunny. So we'll see Fuji eventually, and I guess right now let's get to the hotel. Okay, in my hotel. It's actually not a hotel, it's a traditional Japanese house, and it's amazing. Because not only is there an onsen here, but behind me in that insane backlight is Mount Fuji. So you can't see it now because it's under clouds and because it's backlit, but literally through my window I see Mount Fuji. Now, to fix the backlight, I'm gonna close this window, quick, bear with me. Okay, because the weather is kind of like not great. It's not bad, it's just that it's blocking Mount Fuji. And I have a ton of prep work to do for Patagonia. I thought instead of like vlogging and going out and shooting today, instead I kind of wanted to talk about something. Obviously, Jodie just left back for the UK, and that's hard. It's always hard. It's never easy having a travel companion and then not having a travel companion for a while. And this is gonna be the longest stretch we've been apart since really we started dating almost a year ago. It'll be like 6 weeks, I think, until we see each other. But that's not really what I want to talk about. Jodie and I will be fine. It's a long time apart, but we're good at this. And we'll get through it. I'm not worried about that. But what I do want to talk about is being a travel photographer. And what is a travel photographer? And what is travel photography? Because I get comments on this channel a lot saying, I wish I could do what you do, but I have a family and I have kids and it's just not possible. And the reality is, yes, you probably couldn't travel the world 365 days a year like I do. But being a travel photographer doesn't mean you travel. And let me blow your mind, most travel photographers, most professional travel photographers don't travel that much. Most travel photographers have a home base, they have a wife, they have kids, and they lead pretty normal lives. They go on trips, yes, but most travel photographers spend most of their time specializing in a certain place. So I think to talk about what is a travel photographer, we need to first talk about what is travel photography. So travel photography is basically all types of photography. And I know that sounds like a cheap answer, but travel photography is macro photography, it's landscape photography, it's wildlife photography, it's street photography, it's portraiture photography. It's basically every single kind of photography with the goal of using that photography to convince people to travel to a certain destination or travel to a certain hotel or travel to a certain, with a certain tour company. Travel photography is inspiration. So what is travel photography? Travel photography is the art of taking a picture with the intention of trying to inspire people to visit or to travel. As simple as that might sound. And I think these days most travel photographers are nature and outdoor photographers because that's kind of like this trend right now. Everybody's looking for outdoors, everybody's looking for nature, everybody's looking for landscapes. But over time, travel photographers have been urban photographers, they've been street photographers, they've been journalists. They've been wildlife photographers, and they continue to be so. So a travel photographer then is somebody who makes pictures that are travel pictures. And I know that sounds super simple, and the fact is it is. Because to be a travel photographer, you don't actually need to travel. You don't need to go anywhere. It doesn't matter if you live in Pennsylvania, or if you live in the north of England, or if you live in India. You can create travel photos. You can be a travel photographer. Because honestly, who knows your home area better than you do? In fact, the vast majority of travel photographers, and I might be one of the few exceptions to this rule, the vast majority of travel photographers get their start exploring their hometown, or exploring their home city, or their home state, or their home province. They start out with a niche. They start out knowing all the best places to shoot in their area, and slowly over time they build their portfolio, they build their reputation, and they build their clout. And then eventually people say, oh, I really like your images of such and such location, would you like to try it here? One example, a really good example I can give you is astrophotographer Paul Zizka. Paul Zizka is massive now. He's exploded, he's blown up. When I met Paul, he was popular in Alberta. He was popular in Banff. He was kind of known as this guy that was taking long exposure selfies at night with night sky, aurora and stars and everything like that. And slowly over time, building that influence and building that skill set in his portfolio in the Banff area in Alberta allowed him to take part in bigger projects because companies came knocking. Tourism boards like Yukon came knocking. People are like, oh, I think your style of photography will work in my destination to help sell my destination, so come. Shoot my destination. And now you see Paul Zizka all over the place, shooting different destinations, shooting different styles even, working with Nat Geo and stuff like that. Another great example, again from my hometown, is my buddy Jeff Bartlett, Photo J Bartlett on Instagram. He started out in Jasper actually working at the tourism board. And yes, he traveled before that. He was in Argentina and all over South America and stuff like that. But Jeff worked at the tourism board office and eventually just built up this awesome portfolio of outdoor adventure stuff in Jasper and in Alberta, and again built his portfolio, built his influence, built his clout, and eventually started getting contracts around the world. So if you want to become a travel photographer, your first step should be to take pictures of your hometown. And if your hometown's not cool enough and you don't have a reason to stay there, move somewhere cooler. And if your hometown's okay, your hometown's all right, believe me, there's a need for your photos. Tourism boards of the city, of the state, of the country, of tour operators, hotels, everybody's looking for images. So I guess this whole talk maybe wasn't for me to explain what is a travel photographer or what is travel photography, because I think the answers to those things are simple. I think the goal of this talk, this little chat we're having, is to tell you, you don't need to travel. You can do it. You can be a travel photographer. It just maybe takes patience and work. The goal of this conversation that we're having is to try to inspire you to shoot your home and to go out and explore your area. And not everybody's gonna get these huge assignments, not everybody's gonna become Paul Zizka or Jeff Bartlett, but some of you will. And some of you will get really cool assignments in your state, in your country, maybe worldwide, eventually if you work hard. And I guess that's the final thing, is work hard. I think it's really easy for people to see me, for example, and think, oh, here's this guy that's just become a travel photographer, gets to travel the world and live this awesome lifestyle. But it's not like that. I've been on the road almost 9 years now. And the first 5 of those years, I was broke the entire time. In fact, I was so broke that I was sleeping on beaches in Brazil. I was sleeping in hotels where I knew I couldn't afford to pay the bill in hopes that I could like write some article for some client that hopefully would pay that hotel bill before I left. There was times I was so broke that I couldn't pay for a bus to get myself to a bus station where I'd already bought the ticket, so I'd have to hike through a city for 3 hours or 2 hours or an hour or whatever to get my bus to my next destination. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come quickly. And I think that self-evaluation is also hard. The very first minute I picked up a DSLR camera, I thought, I'm brilliant at this. I can do this. This is great. This is easy. Looking back at those images, I wasn't that good. So self-evaluation is important. Growth is important, but more than anything, hard work is second to none. You cannot do this job without working hard at it. You cannot do this job and have it come overnight. You have to remember that people like me and people like Paul and people like Jeff started working and have been working at this craft for 5-6 years before we got to a point where we were sought after and that people wanted to work with us and that we were selling images. So remember that. A doctor doesn't just get given a needle and say, hey, go do surgery. And based on that comment, you can tell that I don't know a lot about doctors or surgery. The same way a photographer isn't just given a camera and said, go take pictures. You have to have that period of hard work, of growth, and you have to put everything into it if you want to become a travel photographer. So that's chat over, that's talk over. Tomorrow, we're gonna explore here at Mount Fuji. I have one photo spot that I'm dying to shoot that's a classic, iconic spot that everybody shoots here. And I know it's overdone, but I love doing it. It's a beautiful shot. Why not take it? So I'm gonna go there tomorrow, hopefully, at sunrise. And then there's like 5 or 6 other spots that I've been scouting on like Trover and Google Maps, trying to find out little locations around the lakes and stuff like that. So it's gonna be fun. I'm here for 2 full days, maybe like 2.5 days. And there should be lots of photos of Mount Fuji, lots of landscape photography, and lots of travel photography. So I hope to see you guys there. I'll catch you later. Peace.